Hi guys. Both Izza and Nathan have requested a talkie video, so I've improvised a really ropey overhead setup with my iPad on a shelf. I'm really hoping it doesn't fall on me, and I'm just going to do a little bit of work on this, and let's see how it goes. This is completely unplanned, it might be terrible, I might not share it. Anyway, here we go. I thought to start with I'd explain why I don't do many talkie videos, and it's because basically I can't talk and draw at the same time. I've noticed it when I was teaching that basically if I started talking my drawing would get shit, and if I started drawing in the middle of trying to talk then my talking, I'd just start talking rubbish. So it's happening already. But yeah, I'm going to give it a go anyway, so bear with me, and we'll see where we're at. So this is how present is looking at the moment. This is the first time I'm looking at it since I left it yesterday. It's kind of 80% done now, 80-90% done. And I'm kind of at the stage now where I'm mostly happy with it, but I'm just looking at what I could improve to just push it to that final level of completedness. One thing that I immediately noticed, that I noticed yesterday when I was taking the masking off, is I'm losing some of the butterflies in this area where there was a lot of masking fluid. So one of my jobs now will be to go through and pick out some of my yellow colours and a small brush, and I will just go through and try to pick up some of these details so that I'm not losing quite so many of those butterflies. Another thing I noticed when I took off the masking yesterday was that despite having sprayed a huge amount of masking fluid in these corner areas, I don't know if it's the wetness of the paint or what it was, but basically a lot of the smaller areas where I'd sprayed this masking fluid, it hasn't really masked much. I think possibly the colour I'm using doesn't help, because it's a light colour, so there's not as much contrast against the masking as there is in these darker areas. So for example, you can see it here, but you can't see any of the white dots remaining up here. So what I'm planning to do there is I will get some of this trusty Moloto, let's do it that way, acrylic pen refill, and my trusty toothbrush, and basically this is the same way I apply the masking fluid. I just spray it on like this. So I'll pour out a little bit of this, put some on a toothbrush, and I'll flick it on to the canvas in the areas where I want more white dots. Let's see what else. I'm saying a lot. Sorry. I would still like to add more yellow in the areas on the ears here and on the third eye of Dream, because they were yellow or orange in the plan. I think probably what my main job will be then to do is to just pick out areas that I want to darken slightly. I don't think I want to darken the line art too much, or any of it too much, but I think I'd just like to push back some of these areas, like under the space between the arms here. Maybe add a bit of a darker blue shadow or something as a gradient on the wings, just to push the wings back behind the figure. And actually, one of the things that I liked about the digital colour picture that I did, the initial digital sketch, was that the secondary head was faded, which enabled the primary head to stand out and pop forward. And I've not really got that effect here, so what I'm going to need to do is work on building up this primary head a little bit, add a little bit more saturation, work on getting that glow in on the third eye, darken some of the shadows, maybe pop some of the line out a little bit, pop a little bit more saturated purple on those horns, and just basically help to try and lift that head forward so that the fainter secondary head pops back into the background a little bit. And and other than that it will need signing and a title. But at the moment that's pretty much my plans for it. So yeah, I guess I'll start working and see how much I can record, and I'll probably speed up now because I probably won't be able to talk much while I'm actually working. I've just realised one downside of me using my iPad up there to film, I can't have my music on while I'm working. Damn you guys! Damn you, Ezra and Nathan! I'm joking, of course. You just have to listen to more humming and singing. At this stage it's pretty tricky to decide what to do first, because it's kind of like I've got a list of things that I know that I want to do, but not really sure about the order that I want to do them in. I think I'm going to start with those butterflies because I think that's probably quite straightforward. I've already got some yellow here that I mixed up yesterday. This is a mix of various different yellow paints, which I don't think it's reviving. I might have just stained my bowl with this, oh well. Let's stick some of this back in it. This is Brusho Colour Crystal. This is powder pigment. It's kind of like a salt or pepper shaker but with powdered watercolour in it. I love that stuff. So I have this little piece of paper by the side of me while I work to test my paint on. It's quite important. It's also got all of the names of the colours that I'm using on it so that it reminds me which colour is which is really helpful. Saves me having to try and remember everything and work it out every time I try and use a colour. This is too saturated now. So that was PH Martin Hydrus that I put in. This stuff is light, fast and permanent, and it's really saturated colour, so you only need a tiny amount of it to make a really bright colour. But now it's too bright, so I'm going to drop some more water back in it. This is why I have so many water mugs when I paint. I usually have about 3 on the go. One of them is dirty water. I don't know if you can see that there, for cleaning my brushes. One of them is clean water for dripping into paint mixes. And then this one, usually when it's full, I don't have it at the moment, but this one usually has medium in it. Watercolour medium, which just makes the watercolour dry slower and it's better for blending and stuff, but I haven't needed it for this painting, so that one's not in use. Still too much. As you can see, I've not got a very scientific approach to my painting. Chuck a bit more in. Back. So at this point I'm starting to think I should have left it with the first mix I did. I just wedged my bowl with something so that it would tip on an angle. I think if my mother were to describe my approach to making art, she would describe it as Heath Robinson-ish, which is a phrase that she uses whenever anything is kind of made up as it goes along. It's kind of ropey, ad hoc, improvised. So my half a broken dinner plate palette here, my plastic noodle bowl palettes. My other palette is a muffin tray that had cakes in it. I could go out and buy a palette. In fact, I do have palettes, but they're usually full of colours that I use a lot, so I kind of just keep them to one side. But yeah, Heath Robinson-ish. That would be how she would describe it, I think. Right, I think I'm happy with this yellow now, so I think I'm going to start just popping some of these butterflies back in. And what I'm going to do... This is really weird, by the way, narrating everything I'm doing. I've got my brush rest here that Kimber made. Thanks, Kimber! I love it so much. Yeah, I'm just going to grab a dry brush, a slightly bigger one, because what I will probably end up doing is putting a little bit of this pigment on and then using the dry brush to kind of feather it out. I'll see if I can show you. Not that I think you can probably see from up there, but... Okay, this guy. I'm going to start losing them probably here. Oh, this is going to be so bright. And I generally tend to hold my second brush in my teeth when I'm not using it. I miss my music. Probably speed this bit up in the video if I show you. I might not. Might just delete it. Hate the sound of my own voice as well. That's another reason why I don't do talky videos often. I think probably everybody has that. But you know when you just hear your voice played back on a recording and you're like, that's not what I sound like. Who is this weird lady with her deep, deep voice? I guess also another reason I haven't done many of these, any talky videos before, and this is a problem that affects me with putting my work out online generally actually, and updating Patreon, is that I struggle to know what's interesting. This might sound like I'm begging for compliments or something, but I'm really not. But I don't find my own life interesting in the sense that it's my life. You know, I'm used to it. I live it. I do this kind of stuff all the time and every day, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that I struggle to know what would be of interest in videos, because I'd hate to make videos that people were like, well, that was just dull, like this one probably will be, which is why feedback from you guys is really helpful and important. And actually even I'm grateful to Nathan and Dizza for requesting more talky videos, because it gives me a drive and an impetus to do it. If I know that you guys want to hear it and want to see it. Otherwise, it's just kind of down to me what to post and what to share. And I know that it should be on my feed, but ultimately I want my Patreon to be interesting to you, you know? I want it to be full of things that you enjoy and that you like seeing, and I don't want you to get my emails from Patreon and go, oh god, Kat's made another picture, oh, how boring. I hope nobody out there feels like that, but yep. I also feel a bit mad, like I'm talking to myself. Maybe I should look at Twitch streaming, is it, or live streaming or whatever it is, you know, where people can actually, it's more of a two-way thing, so that people can talk back. Because I think maybe that might help if I had someone there to bounce off. So someone could say, hey Kat, what the hell are you doing with that? And I could say, well, I'm doing this. Or they could say, why don't you show us how to do this? And I could go, okay. Maybe that would help me, but got to be honest, it's something that I see a lot of people doing, but I don't really understand it or how it works. I've never really taken part in it. So I'm kind of a little bit scared of it. Right, this guy that I've done now, I think he's too bright down here, so I'm going to try and brush him out a lot so that that yellow is not so bright. We've got pasta bake cooking in the oven at the moment, and I'm smelling it and I'm starving, so my tummy's probably growling. I doubt you could hear it. System of a Down I'm singing, by the way, in case you were curious. Ah, there's a fly in here. I think these butterflies are starting excuse me, starting to look a little bit better, which is good. I have no idea how long my iPad's going to be able to record for before it just dies. We're on 18 minutes now. Okay. Oh yeah, I swear when I work as well, in case you hadn't noticed. I'm sorry, I'm a bad person. I'm not really sorry. English language is meant to be used in its full extent. That's my excuse for swearing. This one isn't paint water, this one is tea. Just in case you were curious. And I'm eating almonds. Trying to get my protein levels up at the moment. Recently got an app called MyFitnessPal. Yeah, MyFitnessPal. And kind of been assessing my diet through it and stuff, and realised like my diet was just 80% carbohydrates and the rest was fat. I was hardly getting any protein at all, which I guess shouldn't be surprising as a vegetarian. But also it might explain why I've struggled to shift my bread belly. So yeah, I'm switching out my diet a bit, and I've been seeking out some cool sources of protein. So almonds are my new best friend. It's going well, by the way. I feel like I've got a lot more energy. My nails are growing. My nails normally grow really slowly, but eating the protein seems to be helping. And yeah, I've hardly needed a nap since I've swapped out my diet, so, which is kind of a shame because there's something I really love about naps, but hey, gives me more time to paint, right?